conversation, and we're talking about hospitality. And it's an area we're all trying to grow in. We look at the New Testament, and it seems to be the very hallmark of Christianity, that people opened their homes not only to love on one another, but to spread the good news of Jesus Christ. So, thoughts, questions?
Well, I would say that hospitality is first an attitude of the heart, a desire to serve, a love for others. That is first before being a nice place, the better decoration, and the best food that even you can make. Mm-hmm. I'm a Peruvian. I like good food.
So you're an expert on hospitality.
That's what I'm making the point, that you can make the best food and even make someone feel bad in your house.
Yeah.
Because the way you talk to them, because the way you serve them, or because the house is, sometimes you want to make the most beautiful house that you have, but it's all to pretend, to show people, look, my beautiful house, but you don't care about the heart of the people. I would say, first of all, hospitality is an attitude of the heart. You can be in a poor place with not too much money, with bread and butter, and be totally practicing good hospitality with someone. And you can be in the opposite place and don't be doing something well. So I would say, first of all, define that hospitality is an attitude of the heart.
There has to be a willingness. I remember growing up, my mother had a picture on the wall that said, "We always have room for one more." And so, especially as men, as husbands and fathers, we need to shepherd our family to be prepared for the opportunities to have someone over. That might be adding a little water to the soup, or cutting the sandwiches a little more thinly, but it's using what you have to be able to share with others as a venue. Jerry Bridges, who was president of the Navigators for years, said he had more sailors come to Christ around his coffee table than he ever did in church. I love what Israel said to me the other day. He said, I was in the neighborhood, and he says, I thought to myself, what's the most African thing I can do? So I just dropped in and ate my food.
It was good food.
But I loved that. I loved it because we've told people at our church that our door is always open. We may not be able to stop what we're doing, but we want you to be able to come by. We want our house to be open. It's not going to be perfect, okay? Mark Dever does a great job at this. His study is always open. So he says, I may be preparing for a sermon, but come on in, sit down, read a book, and then when he has a moment, he'll talk with you. So I think there's a willingness that has to happen. But practically, how do we get there if, like you said, you're either self-conscious or you're doing it for the wrong reason? How do we practically condition ourselves to use our home for the gospel?
It's like in the New Testament church, being hospitable is inviting people to our lives, and that's really what Christianity is about, just inviting people over and showing them what Christ is doing in our lives and showing them Christ through our lives. And I think as we're inviting people too, we got to be able to show them that we're glad that they are with us. There is a mentor and father figure of mine who's always really good at this. Every time I go to his house, reaches out to me and tells me, I'm really glad that you're here. I'm really thankful that you're here. And that shows a lot to me and makes me more willing to go. And there's also an old saying where I'm from that goes, hospitality is not just about being a good host, but also a good guest. So are you always the person inviting people? Are you willing to go outside and go see people? Do you go to people's houses? Are you always the person inviting people to lunch? Or are you willing to go when there's lunch going on at your church? When people are gathering after church for a luncheon, do you always go home? Or do you stay with them?
Church is not just a couple hours in the morning for a service, but it's saying, hey, this is an opportunity on a day of rest to minister to others.
There's a good balance that Israel is putting, because sometimes we can expect people or being selfish and being angry and said no one invites me to their houses to go to eat.
Yeah.
So I'm sad in this situation. I feel alone.
Yeah.
There is one say that my wife is always saying, if you feel alone, it's because you are not practicing hospitality. And that won't allow you to be alone in any way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There will be always people just calling you to say thank you for something,
Yeah,
or because you open the house, now they trust a little more on you, and they say like, I just feel like I trust in you. I want to share with you this. And finally, as I was saying, like this hospitality is an attitude of the heart that comes from a relationship with God. If we don't have a relationship with God, we cannot love people in the way Jesus loved, and we cannot give the things that understanding how Christ gave His life for us.
Yeah.
So how many guys do you have living with you?
7.
There are 7.
7.
All right. And you still host.
Oh yeah, we still host. We want more people.
I feel
we
like
want
he's
more
inviting
people.
us to his house
Oh yeah,
for lunch.
come on in.
Well,
That's one of the things that we will feel free to go to His house
Oh
and
yeah.
just go to eat.
Yeah, come. And if I'm
always
not there,
open.
hang out with my
and
roommates.
if I come to your house, will your wife make ceviche for me?
Excellent speech for you.
right.
Yes.
All right.
Okay.
Well, let's continue to grow in this area
Yeah.
and learn more.
Yes.